Good morning. Good morning. I am Assemblywoman Cottie Petrie-Norris. Thank you for joining us this morning. I also want to thank all of my colleagues who have joined me today. We are here to announce a plan to address California's soaring gas prices, to provide relief to our constituents, and to put money into the pockets of hard-working Californians. As we know, halfway around the world, a war is raging in Ukraine. An authoritarian, autocratic dictator has invaded a sovereign nation, a sovereign democracy. The impact of this conflict is reverberating all across the globe, sending financial markets reeling and energy prices sky high. Soaring gas prices are hitting Californians at the pump. We know our constituents are hurting right now. And that is why we are here today to announce a proposal to deliver a $400 gas rebate for California taxpayers. To put that into context, for most vehicles, for most Californians, this $400 rebate is equivalent to a 1-year gas tax holiday. We know too many Californians are struggling to make ends meet right now. We are here to offer help. We are here to deliver solutions. Thank you to all of my colleagues for your work on this important issue. I am so grateful for your partnership, for your leadership, and for your commitment to California. With that, I am pleased to welcome my colleague, Assemblymember Evan Lowe.
Thank you very much, Assemblywoman Petrie-Norris, for helping to convene and leading Assembly Democrats in being responsive to the state of California. To the members of the public, this is your California State Legislature, led by the California Democratic Caucus, to help ensure that we are being responsive in addressing the economic disparities that exist, specifically with respect to the impact on global affairs. And what is equally important is that everyday Californians know that we are fighting for you and that we are being responsive to the issues impacting you each and every day. And so with this, please continue to help reaffirm your support for this collective effort. I'd like now to introduce Assemblywoman Rebecca Bauer-Cahan.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe, and I want to reiterate my gratitude to Assemblymember Petrie-Norris for her leadership on this important issue. I'm Assemblymember Rebecca Bauer-Cahan from the 16th Assembly District, and I just want Californians to know that we hear you and we see you. We see the pain you're feeling at the pump, how inflation is affecting you every day when you do your grocery shopping and feed your family. And so what we, as the Assembly Democrats, want to do is put this money, this $400 gas rebate, into your pockets. Not into the pockets of oil companies, but straight to you as California taxpayers and the people that we know are feeling this pain every single day. So we proposed this $400 cash rebate, and we hope it provides you with a bit of relief given what is happening every day in our economy. We see you, we hear you, and we care about you, California. And with that, I would like to introduce Assemblymember Cecilia Aguiar Curry.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all of you that are here today. You know, Californians are having a hard time, and we need help to help them by giving them direct relief. The high price of gasoline across the world is impacting every family, and that's what we should provide assistance to. I am committed to continue working with my colleagues here, legislative leadership, and the governor so that we get this done. Killing the jobs and transportation projects that fuel our economy will do more hurt than help our families. Let's get this relief out the door. Let's get it to the people that want it. We heard you. We're going to work hard on this. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you to the leadership of this fabulous group that I'm with today. Next is Assemblymember Cooley.
I'm very honored to stand before this group today on this idea, this proposal to actually return monies to Californians. And next month, I will have spent 45 years working around the legislature. In my 45 years, it does raise the question of When does it make sense for the state of California to undertake the extra work to actually return a check to people? And I think we are in that moment. This is a very, very timely issue. If it made sense to return the gas tax because there was so much revenue to the state, we now confront the challenge of inflation, the worst February in 40 years of rising costs. We face the instability of the global economy with the war with Russia. We don't know what Putin's activities means, the acts of Fed Chairman Powell, and prices rising affecting people. What we know is that the American gross domestic product is driven by consumers. Consumers who are facing rising costs. This will put money, as my colleagues have said, in the pockets of people, and they will turn around according to their priorities and spend it on what matters. And that means it's not just good for them, it is good for the whole California and American economy. This is why I feel in this time of great global instability, for the state of California, for the Democrats to stand up and say, there is a need, let's spend a little overhead to put money in people's pockets and let the engine of consumer spending support us all. This is the moment. So I'm very honored with my colleagues who've taken the lead on this. This is so vital to all Californians, and because of the scale of our state, it's vital to our nation and indeed the globe. Thank you very much. And Assemblymember Jackie Irwin.
Thank you, Mr. Cooley, and thank you, Assemblymember Cottie Petrie-Norris, for leading this effort. We hear you, California. We are listening. This proposal will put $400 directly in the pockets of all California taxpayers, and it'll go far in helping with price increases not only at the pump, but at the grocery store and on our utility bills. Californians are hurting, and they need relief. This is a much more thoughtful proposal than a cut in the gas tax, because a cut in the gas tax has no guarantee that that money will end up in the pockets of consumers. Furthermore, a gas tax cut would delay important infrastructure projects. For example, in my district, the Rice Avenue grade separation had 3 deaths in the past decade and is desperately in need of safety upgrades. Finally, we've seen the price of oil going down in the last few days, but we haven't seen the price of gas going down. And we need to look at market manipulation by oil and gas companies that are hurting Californians only to benefit Wall Street traders and foreign dictators. We need to move this proposal forward quickly. We need to step on the gas and get this done for all Californians that are struggling. Thank you, and I would like to introduce Assemblymember Jesse Gabriel.
Thank you, Assemblymember Irwin. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jesse Gabriel. I am proud to represent the West San Fernando Valley, and I want to thank Assemblywoman Petrie-Norris for gathering us here today. What you have behind us is a very diverse group of legislators from across the state of California. But what we all have in common is that people in our communities are hurting. Working people in our communities are hurting. They are feeling this every time they go to the gas station and are shocked by the prices that they see when they struggle to pay their bills. And in my community, in the West San Fernando Valley and throughout the city of Los Angeles, working people drive long distances to get to work. And so the price of gas matters to them. And when gas prices go up, they feel that. And we are committed to delivering direct relief to California consumers who are feeling that pain at the pump, people who are struggling with rising gas prices and need help. That's what this proposal is about. And as my colleague Jackie Irwin mentioned, and as so many others have mentioned, this is a proposal that we have crafted specifically to help consumers, to help California families, because we want to make sure that we're putting money in the pockets of working families, not in the hands of oil companies and not foreign dictators. And we know that some of the other proposals out there, the idea is to maybe just suspend the gas tax. There's no guarantee that that will be passed along to consumers. So we are excited to work with legislative leadership, to work with the governor, to help craft and shape this proposal. But the idea here is to deliver direct and immediate relief to California consumers who are feeling pain at the pump. And with that, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Assemblywoman Blanca Rubio.
Thank you. I'm proud to stand in support of my colleague's proposal to provide $400 in rebates to all Californians. Given our historic budget surplus, the legislature must take action now to provide immediate relief to all of our residents. This proposed $400 rebate would cover the current 51-cent per gallon gas tax for 1 full year, which includes 52 trips to the pump for most vehicles. This plan is unique and it would apply to all Californians. I would like to translate that into Spanish now. Buenos días, soy la assemblista Blanca Rubio y estamos aquí para anunciar que tenemos una propuesta para mandarles a las gentes, a nuestros residentes de California, un cheque de $400 para ayudar con los precios de la gasolina que todos estamos sufriendo. Yo soy representante del Distrito 48 que está en el sur de California y yo sé que mi gente está batallando y nosotros estamos aquí para ayudarles. Le doy gracias a la asambleísta Cottie Petrie-Norris por su idea y a todos mis colegas que ven aquí atrás porque estamos listos para ayudar a la gente de California. Gracias. Y ahorita voy a anunciar, I want to introduce Assemblymember Sharon Quirk Silva. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Assemblymember Sharon Quirk Silva representing North Orange County, and I'm so proud of my colleague from the South in Orange County, Cottie Petrie-Norris, for leading this effort. I want to echo the same sentiments as my colleagues, but I want to bring it down to that working family. Many times our families in underserved communities, for some of us, $400 might not sound like a huge investment, but it's an investment in their families. It will allow them to buy those diapers, those groceries, sign their children up for soccer. These are the type of important investments in their family that with these gas prices being so high, they have to choose between. Am I going to sign my child up for soccer, or I'm going to have to fill up my gas tank? California has some of the highest gas prices in the nation, and we have to do better for our Californians. This is a step forward. $400 should just be the minimum rebate. And why to all Californians instead of only of those who are drivers? Because we know that Californians who are taxpayers are in our grocery stores. We know that they are hit hard with inflation, high rents, all of those things coming together to make it very difficult for Californians. So I stand with my colleagues to move this initiative forward. And our next guest, Cottie is going to introduce.
Thank you, Assemblymember Quirk Silva. We are now pleased to welcome Assemblymember Adam Gray.
Good morning. I support relief for California's working families. The proposal before you today, tax cuts, tax rebates, and any other measures. We need to be, this is a first step, but we need to be doing everything we can. The cost of inflation, the high price of fuel here in California, and the impact on jobs. I come from a region in the Central Valley where we produce most of the food that most of these communities here in California and throughout the country put on the table, and there's a cost of doing business element here too. And so this is a good first step. I urge the legislative leadership to bring this to the floor ASAP. We need to get this on and voted and to the governor for real relief right away. And then we need to keep working because this isn't the only solution. This is the first step and part of the solution. Thank you.
Assemblymember Jim Cooper, thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I wish more of my colleagues were here. Think about this. It's about survivability right now. People want to pay their rent, their mortgage. They want to pay for food. They want to pay their utility bills, the highest in the nation, 55% higher than anybody else, and also put gas in their car, higher than anywhere else in the nation. And that's troubling. This is the taxpayers' money, and the rebates are good. It's not enough. People need relief. People are struggling right now every day. And what do you decide on? The rent, utilities, put food on the table? It shouldn't be that way. We've got to do more, and I'm proud to stand here with my colleagues, and especially Assemblymember Petrie-Norris, for bringing this forward. It's time. People are fed up right now. Prices are astronomically high wherever you go. We got to do something to help Californians, number one, first and foremost, and I urge leadership to take action and not delay it any further. So thank you. Next up is Assemblywoman Carlos Villapuda.
I want to start by thanking Assemblymember Petrie-Norris and everyone else here who is taking a strong lead in this effort to provide needed relief for California families. I can't lie, the past few months it's not been easy for all of us. I've seen folks at the gas pump and shaking. I've seen it on TikTok, on Facebook, and they're literally shaking their heads and trying to figure out what else can we do. We're here. We've been listening to everyone in our community. We've been listening to folks that are talking about, how do we make adjustments? I read yesterday that they're talking about, people were saying that, I'm not going to be able to go out and have dinner at my local restaurant that I usually support and help. This is going to help. This is going to help our community. This is going to help folks that are trying to get to that baseball game. This is going to help people get home sooner, safer, but we need to take action. As a leader in California, it is upon us to provide solutions, and this is why I am proud to support the stimulus rebate and looking forward to working with the governor on issues that will put back money direct back into your pocket. That's what we need right now, is money right back into your pocket. And then you decide what's important. So thank you all for being here today. And next, Assemblymember Mullen.
Thank you very much, Assemblymember Kevin Mullen, San Mateo County, and Speaker Pro Tem of the Assembly and member of the Budget Committee. I just want to thank my colleagues for standing on these steps today. Californians are feeling pain at the pump. This is totally appropriate when we have a surplus that's really, frankly, in defiance of gravity and in defiance of some of the underlying economic uncertainties, not only here in the state, but across the country and across the world, frankly. So proud to stand in support of this proposal. Look forward to working with Speaker Rendon and our Budget Chair, Mr. Ting, in moving a proposal forward, along with the Governor, of course, who has started this conversation. And I want to thank Assemblymember Petrie-Norris, who I was privileged to partner with in restoration of the Research and Development tax credit to keep economic activity flowing in California. So she's the right person to lead this effort. So proud to stand with her and my colleagues today in support of the proposal. Thank you. And next up, Al Murasucci from Southern California. Assemblymember Murasucci.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Al Murasucci, and I am a Los Angeles area Democrat. And I'm so proud to join my Democratic colleagues. Thank you to Assemblywoman Cottie Petrie-Norris and to my colleagues for your leadership in listening to all the Californians throughout the state who are hurting during these times of rising gas prices. I support this gas rebate, especially in this time of record state budget surpluses. And so we need to make sure that we send the message loud and clear that we hear you, California. We see that you're hurting, and we are here to help. I'm here.
Thank you, Assemblymember Murasucci, and thank you again to all of my colleagues for joining us today, and more importantly, for your work on this important effort and your work to support and lift up hardworking Californians. With that, we're happy to open it up for some questions.
Yeah, I mean, isn't this kind of a blunt instrument? You're going to be sending $400 to millionaires, to people with electric cars, to people who don't have cars. Shouldn't it be more tailored to like income means testing or anything like that?
This proposal would give $400 to all California taxpayers. We know that everyone all across the state, we're feeling the pain at the pump. My constituents, all of our constituents are feeling that pain at the pump. But we do look forward to continued conversation with leadership, with the administration, with our other colleagues on shaping a proposal that we can all support, get through, and deliver as much relief as possible to as many Californians as possible.
Is it going to be flat $100 for everyone, or are you going to index
This proposal is a $400 gas relief check for all California taxpayers.
Is the state appropriations limit a factor in giving it to every taxpayer instead of tailoring it?
We have numerous options in terms of how we can address the state appropriations limit. So that has not informed this proposal. As I said, our goal really is to deliver as much relief as possible to as many Californians as possible.
Have you talked with the governor's office about this at all? They have their own proposal.
So yes, we have had some conversations with the governor's office, really looking forward to seeing their proposal and continuing to work with the governor, with leadership, and with our colleagues to very quickly get money into the pockets of Californians.
What's the timeline for when people would start getting these rebates?
Our goal is to be able to do this in the spring, and all the folks here are going to be pushing really, really hard to make that happen.
Good morning, Morgan Reiner.
Hi.
Station Tax Corps on behalf of St. Patrick's Day. Will this count for people when you say every taxpayer, people who are on fixed incomes?
Yes, and thank you for that point of clarification. Yes, it will. That is certainly the goal and the way that we would craft the implementation of the proposal.
Economists have raised concerns about stimulus and how that could even further affect inflation. I'm wondering if you share that concern as you bring this proposal forward. And also, is there a reason for the $400 figure? I know $9 million is just a small fraction of what's likely going to be the state level services.
So let me take the first part of your question first. Certainly, we are all concerned about inflationary pressures, and as I believe Assemblymember Cooley pointed out, I think February was the fastest rise in prices that we have seen across the country. I think that what we are seeing now with this precipitous increase in oil and gas prices has been really driven by an unprecedented shock and the war in the Ukraine, which is why we think that it is an appropriate measure to provide direct relief to address those spiking gas prices at this juncture. In terms of the figure, and you can zoom in on this. So the $400 figure was arrived at because that is equivalent to a 1-year gas holiday for most California drivers. And we've got a little graphic. So that $400 for most Californians, for the average Californian, for the average vehicle, that's 52 trips to the pump. That's a year-long gas tax holiday.
And my next question is kind of far out in the future, but this whole week has really raised the realization of how necessary, in some cases, the gas tax is at district caucus meetings. But as if we're going to move to this clean energy transition, where are those funds going to come from eventually to help fund those projects and the jobs?
So, excellent point, excellent question, and certainly something that is the topic of a lot of conversation here is to ensure that we have infrastructure dollars as the source of those funds change and shift over time. We are 100% committed to delivering our clean energy future, and we will certainly have to adjust the ways in which we fund the state as we make that transition. Okay.
I got one question. I mean, just to make sure I understand, you said this is for an income tax, right? People who pay income tax to the state, this is a rebate to them.
Correct.
Okay, and if it's a married couple filing jointly, do they get 2 checks?
This proposal is $400 per individual, and as I said, we're looking forward to taking a closer look at the administration's proposal and continuing to craft this. But this proposal is $400 to each Californian. And I believe I think did Assemblymember Cooley want to respond, I think, to one of your questions. Go ahead.
I just want to remark on how does this proposal fit in the larger context, right? Gas prices are up. That's already bad for people. Inflation is up. That's bad for people. You have Chairman Powell of the Federal Reserve increasing interest rates. That's going to drive price increases. All of that's new since Gavin Newsom floated the idea of a gas tax issue in January. Inflation, the action by the Federal Reserve, all of these things are driving costs upward. And we know that 70% of gross domestic product comes from consumer spending. And we know we're trying to get back to people being employed in their offices, working, pulling down a paycheck. And that spending promotes jobs. So to me, I actually think what Cottie has latched onto, which I strongly support, is an idea that takes all of these variables into play and spreads money broadly to get it in the hands of people who can individually decide how will that $400 affect me, my family, the best thing I can. And that means it's going to be sifting throughout the entire economy, supporting our economy. And with the conflict going on, we actually don't know where things unfold. So to me, it's like this is actually a very targeted conception of how to put money where it will have an impact. And I do think it responds to Putin, Powell, and prices climbing. Kind of hokey, but I think it lines up with all those things and puts dollars in the pocket where 70% of economic life is driven, and it creates jobs.
Right. And with that, I think that, Assemblymember Gabriel wanted to comment, I think, on that as well. And then we'll go ahead and wrap up questions, but folks will be available for any one-on-one conversations should there be further questions and further conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much, Assemblywoman. I just responding to a couple of these questions. This proposal here is without prejudice to other things that the legislature might do. And we have had conversations, I know I've had conversations with colleagues about rebates that are more targeted, that are more means tested to address other issues, to address cost of living increases, to make sure that low-income communities are getting more money back in their pockets, that we're directing our surplus to those who need it the most. And also understanding that with this surplus that we can make some very important generational investments, whether they be in clean energy and education, on water, on other things. The size of the surplus allows us to do both and. And part of what this is an acknowledgement that people are feeling immediate pain at the pump right now, and they need immediate relief. But as the Assemblywoman has said over and over, there's a lot of conversations happening right now. I have a strong sense that there is going to be additional relief on top of this that is means tested and targeted to those folks who need it most, because certainly we want to make sure as we're working through this time that those communities are struggling the most get the most help. And so this is not going to be the only proposal on the table. This is not the only thing that we're going to be able to do with our surplus. The size and scale of the surplus, I think Assemblymember Mullen said it's defying gravity at some point, which I thought was apt. We are going to have a lot of options in front of us. And so this is part of those conversations about all of the hopefully very important things that we can do with our surplus.
It just seems really unlikely that the GAN limit is not formed I just can't believe that the size of the surplus that the GAN limit isn't part of the motivation. I mean, obviously you're trying to get money to
Certainly. We know that because of the GAN limit, we are in a historic position, to give money back to California taxpayers. And we want to do that urgently. We want to do that immediately. We want to address the pain that people are feeling right now, today.